Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Vantage Point. Tonight we got paranormal investigator Matt Warner, and we're just going to have a great interview, good conversation with him. So let's go ahead and get him in.
Evening.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Not bad for an old man.
There we go. There you go.
So how you been?
Busy, man. Busy.
I know the feeling. I'm telling you.
Yep. Busy. Busy's good though.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, can't complain. Can't complain whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so go ahead and kind of just give everybody like a little spill of what you do, like what got you started, and kind of like just go from there, man, or just start from the beginning.
All right. Sounds good. My name is Matt Warner from Warner Paranormal Explorers. I grew up and live in the southeastern part of Massachusetts, which is known as the Bridgewater Triangle area. It's an area known for all sorts of paranormal and supernatural occurrences. If it could happen, it's happened here, supposedly. So I kind of grew up around all of that, unbeknownst to me when I was younger. The Cliff's Notes version of how I got into the paranormal is growing up, I always had a love for horror movies, got into the horror movies and absorbed as much of that as I could. Got
Right.
into a lot of reading because the internet wasn't available when I was a kid like you. And so we didn't have anything. We didn't have anything else to keep ourselves occupied.
Hey, I'm almost 50, so
All right. Yeah, you got a few years on me. I'll be
yeah.
41 in a month. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm almost
I'm,
50,
I'm,
man.
yeah, we've seen some things that these kids these days don't understand.
Hey, you ain't lying.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's all good. And as I got a little bit older, they started coming out with like sightings and unsolved mysteries, and
Mm-hmm.
I was realizing that there's more out there. I had a couple of
Right.
experiences growing up, little things as a kid that I just brushed off. And
Mm-hmm.
my grandparents lived next door to me, and their house was haunted. And I believe, as an adult, I believe it was my great grandmother because she had passed in the house. I never had any experiences there, but the stories were always told, and little things here and there, and we just
Okay.
referred to the ghost as Casper.
Oh, gotcha.
So fortunately, my family was always very receptive of it. It was never one of those like, oh, ghosts aren't real. Like it was whatever. So
Right.
um, as I got a little bit older, my library of books starts to grow. I start reading up on local legends, lore, and those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out about a road in the area near where I live, about a 20-minute drive from me.
Right.
And the road cuts through a very nice neighborhood. It's about a couple miles, probably 2 miles long. The second half of the road is just rough paved mile, like lane and a half wide. And
Mm-hmm.
it cuts through conservation land, which was former native land, which basically all of it is, if you think
Oh,
about it.
gotcha.
And so it was one of those things, same thing. It was like, if something could happen on this road, it would, Bigfoot, alien, thunderbirds, hitchhiker ghosts, all kinds of stuff could be, supposedly encountered on this road. So we would go up and down this road as bored teenagers do all the time because we had nothing better to do with ourselves. So
I remember them days.
I would say, right, yeah, it's what else? I miss those
I
days.
remember
I
them
miss
days.
having no responsibility.
Hey, we
But we
didn't
would just
really
go up and
have.
down this thing.
Yeah, we didn't have internet back then, or we
No,
didn't have like
no,
100 channels on TV. So, you know,
no. We used to hang out at a gas station in town. Like that was like a real thing for us. People seeing movies like, I look stupid. It's like A+ parking lot was the place to be on Friday night. That's what we did. You're figuring out what to do from there. Somebody's having a party somewhere, but
right.
um, that's what we could do. So I went up and down this road probably 100 times before I had anything happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a January night. I was about, I think it was 19 at the time, and it was warm for New England, dry, no precipitation, no snow on the ground, anything.
Right.
And I picked my buddy up after work about 8 o'clock. I got out of work, picked him up, and he was kind of a chicken shit kind of person anyway. Still is to this day. Didn't like this stuff, and that's another thing. Like I've not been like in the public eye with this for as long as others because I didn't have any like-minded people to do it with. So I was just off doing my own thing.
Right.
But we were driving down there, and I said to him, I say, I think I'm gonna like stop in the middle of the road tonight, like turn my lights off and stuff. He's like, don't do that to me, dude. I'm like, yeah, sure. Knowing I'm gonna do that to me, because that's the kind of friend that I am. But
Right.
yes, you have to treat your friends with some respect, right?
Exactly. I know exactly what
So,
you're talking about, so that's why it's funny.
well, I think most people do. Like, it's a good-natured ribbing that we have to give our friends. And so I wound up, we go down the road, got the windows cracked. We're cruising through the neighborhood. We get to the wooded part, and it cuts through to another major road. So at the end of that road, we would turn around and go back so that you get the double bang for your buck type of deal.
Right.
And as we turn around, we're coming back, and I'm at about the midway point through the wooded part, and I'm slowing down. And he's like, dude, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And bring the truck to a stop. I click my lights off. As soon as I click my lights off, directly in front of the truck, I see two white hands on my hood. I see up the arm, white shoulders. I never saw the head because I freaked out. I flipped the lights on and I floored it. And my truck wouldn't move. It was as if it was being held by whatever this thing was.
Right.
And the wheels just spun. It seemed like an eternity. It was probably seconds.
Right.
As all of a sudden the truck goes, but it doesn't go forward. It goes to the side as if it was shoved off to the side. And
Really?
at this point, now I'm fighting speed, uncontrollable vehicle. My buddy's screaming at me, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I'm like, dude, I can't control this. Like, I'm trying to get a hold of the truck. And I'm fighting the wheel back and forth. And just before I hit this huge tree off to the side of the road, I'm able to get it back onto the road. And we got through that neighborhood at 60, 65 miles an hour. We get to the main road.
Shit.
We keep going down the main road. I'm like bugging out, and we drove a while. I pulled over to the side of the main road, and this was early days cell phone. So I had the old school like brick, like it was before the brick Nokia. This was like pre-Nokia brick phone. So I called my mom.
Oh, gotcha.
She used to go up and down this road, and I was like, you're not gonna believe what happened. I asked my buddy prior to that. I said, what did you see? And he said, I saw a woman in a white dress standing right in front of your truck. So we both saw the same thing.
Right.
Which was fantastic because I'm able to tell this story. The fun thing is, I at one point in time stood in that woods and jumped out at my mom as she was driving up and down that road with her boyfriend and my brother, because I was that nice of a son that I would do that to my mom. So I think that was probably a piece of karma for me, and it was probably like, this is what you get for messing with your mother. But that whole experience changed my life completely in terms of most things, but especially the paranormal, because then I realized, wow, like these things, as far-fetched as they sound to non-believers, they can happen, and they do happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go back down that road for probably 5 years. He's never been back down that road.
Really?
And it's one of those things that stuck with me. And at that point in time, I said, I want to dig in deeper. And I've been investigating in my own kind of way since.
Right. Now, going back to what you saw that was holding the truck back, was there any kind of like urban legends that everyone else talked about? Did anybody else see it, or did?
There was nothing like that had ever occurred there.
Okay.
The big thing that people talked about seeing out there was the big winged thunderbirds, which are like Native American lore animal, like 10-foot wingspan, these huge birds. You could see giant Native Americans, Bigfoot, aliens, kind of just that whole hodgepodge of, if it's cryptid or paranormal, it could be out there.
Right.
But that was actually not something that was ever mentioned, things like that. There are within the Bridgewater Triangle, the ghost hitchhikers and things like that, but nothing about like a woman in a white dress that, wants to stand in front of your truck.
Right. It's kind of like the reason why I was asking, because like where I'm from, or actually where I went to high school, we have like certain urban legends from around the area that everyone, I mean, could it be BS or could it be, but there was like certain things throughout years from generation to generation that, by the time I got to high school, because we got like a forestry, like south of where the high school is. And it was just the teenage thing, like you just mentioned, for everyone to go out there and see what everyone else saw. But unfortunately, I never did. So
I never thought I was going to see anything, because, like I said, I've been so many times up and down the road. I was like, you build it up, nothing's ever going to happen. But it finally did happen, and patience was a virtue in that aspect, I suppose. But
right,
it was definitely life altering in terms of thinning the veil, so to speak.
Right. So did you like after that happened, did you do any kind of research or like kind of like maybe was there like some sort of information? Did a woman die or
So
like
I
stuff in
was
that
never able to
manner?
find any information. I never found
Okay.
any information about anything tragic happening on the road. This was pre-internet, so it wasn't like I could,
Right.
actually, now the internet was fairly new.
Uh-huh.
It was, it was old school dial-up, and
Right.
we all remember how fun that was.
Yeah, you like downloaded a picture in
But
a matter of like 20 minutes.
yeah, like you'd sign up for like 3 songs you wanted to download while you were at school, and they might be ready when you got home.
Bingo.
But yeah, no, I never found anything out that pertained to the road, anything that actually happened
Okay.
there. So
Right.
um, it's kind of it was a dead end in terms of that.
Okay. Gotcha. Now going back to like where you was talking about your grandparents' house.
Mhm.
Now, did everyone in your family kind of like witness the same thing all the time, or
So one of the stories that I remember, and it's funny because it always reminded me of Ghostbusters, the scene when the eggs start cracking out of the eggshell. They
oh
had
yeah,
my nana. My nana was an amazing baker and cook. Like her
uh-huh,
kitchen was so tightly packed, but they were like
right,
they were people that had 2 refrigerators way before it was a thing. And
right,
well, I always fought weight issues because I was down there every day eating, but
hmm,
that's what nanas do.
right, right,
So one of the stories I remember them telling me was that they had like eggs ready to cook in a pan that started cooking themselves. And I'm a 6, 7 year old child at this point. It's not something like they're not trying to scare me. They were just one of the stories they were telling.
right.
And I'm trying to think some of the other ones. Things would happen in the bathroom. I believe the faucets would turn themselves on in the bathroom. I remember that being a thing.
Okay,
Um, I was young, so I mean, I'm trying to think when that house existed until I was about 25, give or take 25 or so. And I never felt uneasy in that house or like I was
okay,
being watched.
right,
I was in there a few times by myself over the years, but it was never spooky or anything like that. So I do kind of think it might have been my great grandmother. And just recently, I had an experience with a couple friends of mine, and they pulled there was some people around me, whether they're spirit guides or not. They were there with me that night, and it happened to be my nana, my grandfather, and my great grandparents. Now, my great grandparents, obviously, I never met them,
okay,
and it's names I've never even spoken, but they were able to pull their names. And I was like, you got to be shitting me right now. Like, I don't,
right, right,
how is this possible? So that energy from that side of the family, I guess, is still with me and always was. So
right,
maybe that's why I always felt comfortable in the house. Maybe that's why I never had experiences, but I,
right.
I have no idea.
Okay, so let's fast forward a tad. So,
Mhm.
how old were you like when you started like basically saying, okay, now I've had these experiences, I've had this happened, this happened. So when did you decide, let's say you wanted to form like a paranormal team?
So, I mean, when I was little, I forget, I was like 6 or 7. I remember I was sharing a room with my brother at the time, and I've got 6 years on him. So I was probably actually maybe about 8 or 9. That was the first time I had a head scratcher. I don't know if it was anything. It could have been my tired eyes, but my bed was on the wall that the door was on.
Hmm.
And I remember opening my eyes and seeing this black shadow standing behind the door, but off the floor.
Okay.
And it was probably 4 feet high, over 4 feet long, and then about 2 feet off the ground. And I remember just kind of looking at it and being like, nah, just, close your eyes, go to bed type of thing. And it really
Right.
never registered. It's something that I remembered, but I never put any stock into it.
Right.
And then when I was about 15, I had gotten a new bedroom in the house, and my TV was off at an angle to my bed, and I was watching TV, and this face appeared in the TV. It was like a silver face. It reminded me of Zombie from Pee-wee's Playhouse, but silver.
Oh yeah.
Um, and he'd show up on the TV screen. That's what it reminded me of. But I
Okay.
was watching just a regular movie,
Right.
and the movie was centered on the TV, but the face had its eyes looking at me, and it creeped me the hell out.
Hmm.
And I just shut the TV off and called it a night. So
Right.
same thing. I was like, oh, I read all these creepy books and stories. I watch
Right.
horror movies. Maybe it's my mind. And then when I had that experience, that propelled me to do more research and soak up all the shows.
Mhm.
And I didn't really, it was hard because the same thing, it was before social media. So it was really hard to find like-minded people to do this stuff
Yes.
with.
Right.
So I would just basically drag whoever would come with me to local places and things like that. And I remember it was my 30th birthday. I went to Lizzie Borden's and spent the night there because we're local to
Oh,
that.
okay.
So that was one of my first actually real deal investigations that I did. And then I never had a real team because, like I said, I couldn't find people. Still, it was just
Yeah.
my girlfriend at the time who I did that with, and then
Okay.
a few years later, for my 35th, her, my brother, my sister-in-law, and a friend of mine, we went down to Kentucky, and I rented Waverly Hills and Bobby Mackey's.
Oh, okay.
I said, this is something I've always wanted to do. I'm paying for these flat out. I remember I spent like $1,600, like boom, and I was like, all right, whoever wants
Yeah,
to come with me.
It's not cheap. Yeah.
No, it wasn't a cheap adventure. And it was one of those things though. I said, if people want to come with me, they can. Otherwise, I'm going by myself because it's something I've always wanted to do.
Right.
And it was, just family and one friend. And we went and we had a great time. And I had like my, little ghetto ghost hunting kit with me and everything. And
right.
it was great. It was Bobby Mackey's, I don't believe the hype, but Waverly is incredible. And
yeah,
that was when I started finding more like-minded people and things like that, and getting a little more public with it. Now the network's fantastic, and we do all this stuff, and there's no lack of community anymore. I mean, there's a lot of underside of it that we don't care for, but we find the right people now.
It's because I'm not too far from actually Waverly. I'm actually maybe an hour, 2 hours tops, maybe hour and a half, about that.
Oh, that's not bad.
And I've never been there yet. I mean, after all these years,
oh, that's crazy. You got to get there.
I know. It's like I've got tons of friends that's been there, and I've even got buddies that know security there, and said, yeah, man, they'll just let you walk around or whatever, so even Bobby Mackey's, I've never made it to Bobby Mackey's yet, so. But one question I got about Bobby Mackey's for you, since you've already been there and I haven't, and you mentioned the word hype, which I've witnessed this too. I mean, because we all get it. So was it like maybe the TV shows kind of hyped it up way too much for what it is?
Oh, 100%.
What it really is?
Yep. I believe that they owe all their success to Ghost Adventures.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at. I just didn't.
Yeah. I'll say it. But no, like it's not, I don't like to knock anybody.
Right.
I have my people.
I'm the same.
I have my detractors. Yeah, I have my detractors. I have the people that I don't like, and vice versa. But I'm not going to do that to somebody. Right. I think everyone, if you've not experienced Bobby Mackey's, you need to experience it for yourself. Because like any location, it could be dead for someone else, no pun intended, and it could be completely alive for somebody else.
Right. Exactly.
That being said, I do believe it's a hype machine.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's
I've always wondered that myself. I mean,
I made a point to stand in the portal to hell as the clock struck midnight on my 35th birthday, and I'm still here. So
right. I mean, I'm the same way, like I don't sit because I've met people that were on TV, the paranormal shows and stuff like that. Some of them are really good people, yes. And but again, Ghost Adventures is the worst. I mean, you just got to take it for what it is. It is entertainment, it is scripted.
Yep.
And it's just, but I'm the type of person. I mean, somebody's going to come back and call you out, and I'm just that type of person. It's like, and that kind of sucks because there's people like that really want to go. Then all of a sudden they get there and they're like, what the hell, really? And they get disappointed.
Yeah, they were hoodwinked. Yeah.
And that's what
sucks. And that's like, we had Mackey's private for ourselves. Like I said, it was 5 of us. We had the whole place for, I think it was a 5-hour rental. We left after 3.5 hours because I was like, dude, I've had enough here. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it was very damp and moldy, and it's an active bar. Like, it's still open for business. So I'm like, I'm up in Massachusetts. We have standards up here that like you can't have things like that open. Like, they would be condemned up here. But that's rural Kentucky. They don't give a rat's ass down there. So that's
correct.
It was completely different for us. And I had a few experiences there, but nothing life-changing. I feel that I always have experiences because I'm very open and I'm kind of a magnet for spirits. So it's not really, I could have an experience at Whole Foods. It doesn't really matter,
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's just kind of, I've always wanted to go no matter what. Because, like because I love history. I mean, I've always been a history type of person, anyways. And I mean, like kind of when I first got going places, we went to Prospect Place Mansion in Ohio.
Okay.
And yeah, Ghost Adventures was there, and that's where everybody started hearing about it. But I tell you what, no lie, I didn't really witness nothing. I didn't really, but it was a very awesome place to go. I mean, it was just a very to learn about the history, to learn about. I mean, maybe the paranormal claims and stuff like that was all BS, but it was still a cool place to go. I mean,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, that's stuff I don't mind doing,
I don't like it.
that.
I don't like it when a place touts itself as the most haunted place and you're going to have this, that, and the other. You can't do that to people because you can't guarantee that experience.
Correct.
And I'm the same as you. History drives me. History and architecture is my favorite thing, and ghosts are a nice bonus to me. So
right,
if I go to a place and pay 50 or $100 and they're going to put it in to put new shingles on the roof, I'm all for it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I mean, because if I'm thinking right, like Prospect Place Mansion, I believe most of the proceeds, I think, went to a certain foundation, if I'm thinking correctly. So that's why, I don't mind. And like even here in Indiana, it's like Rhodes Hotel. It's an awesome location. I love it there. I know the owner, and it's like, and they got a foundation called Lost Limbs Foundation, and I use this podcast to try to kind of help with it, kind of get the word out about Lost Limbs Foundation and stuff like that. So it's just a really cool place to go to, So, but I'm the same way. Okay, so like right now, so you have a team now called Warner Paranormal Explorers?
Correct. Yep. Who's you?
Okay, so who's
about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, it consists of me for almost 4 years now. 4 of us, and it works out really well. So when I'm off on my own, I don't get butthurt over it. I see that how like they're, they got it's too much.
We're having. Give me 1 second, man. Sorry about that. Here is horrible. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me go ahead and ask the question again because you were breaking out real bad. Because, like I said, I apologize because the internet here. We live out in the country, and internet is horrible, like crazy. But it is what it is. I mean, we live in I love living out in the country, but this is one of the cons. Okay, so I know. So back to what? Okay, so you have Warner Paranormal Explorers. So who's all? Okay, so let me ask again. So who's all involved in that, and how'd that get started?
So Warner Paranormal Explorers, I started about years ago, and it consisted originally of myself and my daughter. I was part of a team prior to that. With the team prior to that, there was too many people involved and too many different interests. And what I really like doing didn't vibe with everybody else. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start my own thing, do what I want to do, and go from there. And once I started that, I added one of my best friends and her fiance, who's now her husband, and it's the 4 of us. And I will not add any more people to the team. It will always be just the 4 of us. It works out perfectly well.
Right.
We have, honorary members and whatnot like that, but it's the 4 of us, and they're very understanding and appreciative that I get to go and do a lot more of this stuff than they can due to their circumstances and their jobs and things like that. So I always promote as the team when I'm out and about, so people know it's not just Matt Warner, it's Warner Paranormal Explorers. And now we're in a fortunate position where we all get to do a lot more stuff locally. So it's working out really well for us.
Oh, awesome. So, and it's kind of cool because I got a 9-year-old daughter as well. And at first used to because I actually kind of always did tours at Hannah House in Indianapolis. She used to be really scared going through the house, but now she's love going to the basement, love walking around by herself. So that's pretty cool, man. So how did your daughter do with it?
She loves it. And I think originally it was a way for her to spend more time. I mean, we spend a ton of time together anyway. She's my best friend, and we do everything together.
That is really awesome, man.
And thank you. And I've always taken that step. There's a lot of detractors like, oh, I can't believe you take your kid ghost hunting. It's like, what are you talking about? We're not, it's ridiculous. It's a stupid conversation that does not need to happen,
Right.
But I'm not going to take her to some place that's known to be supposedly demonic before I vex the place out myself. You know, it's not like, oh, well, let's take you to Pavilia Island and I'll send you over first and let me know how it goes. It's not how not how we do it. So
exactly.
It's no different. We bond over that where other parents bond with their kids over sports. Like she doesn't do
Right.
that stuff. So we go
I
something
mean,
together and she enjoys it. She loves basements too. I don't know what it is about kids in basements. She loves the basements.
I know exactly
But
where
yeah,
you're coming from with that. So
yeah. So it works out great and
that's
she
awesome.
enjoys it. We had one last night and we were up super late and she's like, I had a blast. I'm like, well, good. I'm tired.
I mean, that's really cool because I mean, it's still, to be honest with you, I mean, it's like we live in a time. I mean, we live in a time where I think it's almost like there's too many things out there that get people afraid of things, and like, certain subjects are not supposed to be spoken of, or, we can't do this, we can't do that. And it's like, well, why not? Like, why can't my kid go with me? Or,
Right.
how's it going? Yeah, I mean, it's certain to me because being a skeptic that I am, and it's almost like I teach her to, there still can be natural explanations to what things are, and just let her think for herself, let her think on her own.
Yeah.
And she's not afraid of it. And she's not really like she go, like I said, when we go to Hannah House, she enjoys it. I mean, she loves it, and she don't really think about, oh my God, this place is haunted. Oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, she never even thinks about it, so it's almost like it's kind of a cool thing, even like what you're doing. It's like, we're kind of teaching them, you don't need to live in fear. What's there to be afraid of?
Well, that's,
you know,
I've always had a fascination with fear in general because you do.
right,
It's one of those. It's the only emotion you don't know how you'll react to.
right,
You've
exactly,
got fight or flight. Are you going to run from it? Are you going to run to it? Is it going to make you
right,
laugh? Is it going to make you cry? Is it going to make you scream?
right,
I love the adrenaline that fear brings, and I
yeah,
still love getting scared. I got scared last week. It scared the hell out of myself, and it felt good. Like
right,
after my heart settled down. I'm getting old, so I didn't want to have too much going. But I like that. I chase that kind of stuff. That's why we do
right,
what we do.
exactly. So, still talking about like doing. So, where does actually do you and your daughter go to? Like, what locations have you guys traveled to? What all do you guys do? I mean,
So we've been to, gosh, there's a bunch of local places that we've investigated. We were at a place last night. It's new to the field. It's called the Emory Estates. That's in Weymouth, Mass. That's a big old estate. It's about 100 and it was built 120 years ago, and it's
oh, okay,
built in the style of Mount Vernon. So it's a
oh,
really
okay,
big place. It's beautiful, and we had some good interactions last night. A little quiet. It was a big public ghost hunt, so
oh,
with
gotcha,
20 some odd people in the house, it's a little harder to hear.
yeah,
Um, about a month ago, I took her to the Conjuring house for the first time.
oh, wow,
So she was able to get in there. I was very happy to bring her down there. And actually, it was the first time my whole team had gone with me. I've been there numerous times. I'm fortunate enough to say I'm good friends with Jen and Corey that own it. So I get to
okay,
go down and hang out a lot.
right,
And I brought the whole team down as a surprise. I didn't tell any of them where we were going. And when we showed up, they're like, whoa, really? I was like, oh yeah, let's go hang out for a bit.
right.
So we got to investigate that. Trying to think where else I've brought her. She has been to a place called the Bradford house in Kingston, Mass, which is
I've heard of it.
under the radar, low key.
Huh?
It
I've
was
heard.
built in the late. Heard
I
of
can't
it?
remember where I've heard of it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
It's that's an old place. That place was built late 1600s, early 1700s.
Wow.
So
Okay.
there's a lot of history there.
Right.
Gosh, where else have I taken her? She's done the Oliver House in Middleborough, Mass, a bunch of times with me. That's kind of where she got her start with me at the Oliver House.
Oh,
That
okay.
house has ties. That's pre-Revolutionary War. It
Oh,
was built by
wow.
a loyalist, and once we won the war, he fled to Canada, and I think then back over to England. But Ben
Oh,
Franklin
gotcha.
spent time in this house. Very historical, and it's run very
Right.
well. So we do a lot down there with them. God, where else has she been? I know there's other places when I get off this, I'm like, oh damn it, she's been there too.
Why didn't I mention it?
Oh yeah, last year we were out in Arizona, so we did. She helped lead investigations at Vulture City Ghost Town with me at a convention, the Vulture City Paracon that we were at.
Wow. That's totally
So
cool.
she was out there for that. That was awesome. What we
Hell
do is
yeah.
when we travel, we try to make ghost trips out of it too. Like we do everything
Right.
together. And she's been to Eastern State Penn with me as well.
Okay.
In Philly, we did the Philadelphia trip. I'm trying to think where else we've taken her. She's got to see a lot of really cool places. And we do like I know people always talking about how you can't ghost hunt at Eastern State anymore. They don't do paranormal. If you bring in a
I've
couple little pieces of equipment in your pocket and you pay $12 to walk around, you can do whatever you want all day long.
right.
They
Yeah, I
don't
have heard that.
question you. I mean, as long as you don't, yeah, it's a great place to go. So there are ways. I find that a lot of people think you have to ghost hunt in the dark because it's scarier, but ghosts don't
Right.
have a time stamp.
Right.
They're around all the time.
Yeah.
So we make the most of our trips. So
That's
she's
awesome.
been to quite a few places.
That is really cool, man. I mean, very cool. So like I'm trying to think. So was there a location like you guys like was there something like a location you acquired or if I'm thinking
Yes. So
because Sarah said something to me about it. That's the only reason like my memory is horrible, dude. The older I get, I'm bad. No lie.
that's all good. I know that feeling. I have it happen too. No, so I have been in the background working on bringing this location to the paranormal field for paranormal research for almost a year now.
Okay.
It's a location I've known about. It's in the South Shore of Mass. It's in Rockland, and it's called Hartsuff Hall. And I was just recently granted the ability to run paranormal events out of it for private rentals and for public ghost hunts.
Right.
The building itself was built in 1899. It was built by veterans and families of the Civil War as a place for veterans to come and hang out and interact with each other, kind of like a Legion Hall, but for Civil War.
Gotcha.
And it has been there for 123 years, and it's one of the last remaining all wooden halls in the country. It's on the National Historic Registry of Deeds.
Oh, okay.
And it took a lot of convincing to let me in there to do some paranormal stuff because they didn't really want it to be known as a place because it's, it can have a stigma. And I said, no, that's not the field anymore. We're not that way anymore. We're not antiquated. And, and besides that, they've all had experiences in there because the place is super active. So I'm like, you guys are sitting on something here that the field needs, and we can all work together and we can raise funds to keep this building going for you guys for generations to come and preserve the history. So this has been a passion project of mine.
Even paying the taxes and stuff like that, just,
all of it adds up. And in New England, and it's heated and it's got electricity. So in New England, it gets cold here. So
I've heard.
And even now the cost of oil right now, I don't even want to think about that.
Right.
So I became a member of the association that runs and operates the building a few months ago.
Right.
Worked my way up, kind of proving myself like, hey man, like I've got the best interest of everybody in hand. And now we're on board and it's ready for private bookings. I'm going to start scheduling some public ghost hunts. And I've created Warner Paranormal Preservation Society as the umbrella that this will sit underneath.
Okay.
Because it's been a passion. It's been something I've always wanted to do in terms of saving history. And this is the first crack I get at it.
That is very cool.
I have another location that's, thank you. Another location that's right behind its heels and just hasn't been able to be launched yet, but that'll be available pretty soon too. And this year I'll focus on those two locations. And next year I'm going to try to get another one or two under the umbrella and see if we can't save more history.
Right. That's very cool, man. I mean, awesome. Just totally awesome. If you can, man, while I'm thinking about it, send me the links and like on this video, when I get the video uploaded on YouTube, I will get the links for you in the description box so people can check it out. And hopefully, man, everybody that listens to this maybe can get on board with and go check it out.
I'd love to have them down.
Yeah. That's what I like to do, man.
Place. I appreciate that. And that's, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to see if spirits are real. And at the same time, like we're trying to keep these buildings going. And if I can do both, that's a win-win.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, cause I've been on the staff at the Anna House for 8, 9 years, probably. And I know what it's like to where, coming up the money with the taxes and trying to, like,
not easy.
a lot of places, I mean, they need a new roof, or
Yep.
I mean, it's just name it. And then a lot of places, like you'll hear people kind of bitch and complain about, well, this place is like $50 a person. I'm like, do you know where that money's going to? I mean,
Right. Yeah.
it's not
Have you
really
seen this?
going to, it doesn't go in people's pockets, like some people
Nope.
think. I mean, I know that firsthand, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from, and totally. I mean, that's why I say, man, it's really awesome what you're doing. I mean,
Thank you.
because like I've seen it, I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, this place deserves to be a part of the field. And we need more places. Everybody's looking for new places, and
Of course.
I handpicked about 8 or 10 people that I wanted to have a part of this project with me. My team and a
Okay.
few others local to me,
Right.
and we've been in there 4 or 5 different times now. Every time we have more experiences and just more pronounced experiences. I think the spirits are starting to get used to us, especially me,
Uh-huh.
and they're understanding more now what we're doing in there. But it's an active building.
Right. Now, has there been like a lot of claims in the past? I mean, that made you like come forward and say, you would like to really check this place out, and and stuff like that. I mean, were there people in the past coming forward, saying what they witnessed or anything else like that?
So a friend of mine, he actually had the ability to investigate this place 8 years ago or some point like that, and he had
Right.
mentioned it to me just a few years back when I met him. I've known him for about 5 or 6 years now, and he admitted, "Oh yeah, I investigated a place near you," and I was like, "Oh, I drive by that building all the time, and I love it because
Right.
architecture, and
Uh-huh.
it's got these big ass cannons out front. It's just cool." So I knew of the building, and then
Mhm.
I had an in with a friend of mine who started interacting with the group that runs it. The group that runs it is also a group of Civil War reenactors, and
Oh,
that's
gotcha.
his thing. He likes that stuff. He was a
Right.
scoutmaster, so he got in with the Civil War guys. And I said, "All right, man, this is what you got to do for me. You got to get me in there. I just want to investigate. I want to investigate." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll talk to him." And they're like, "Yeah, he can come in and investigate. I can't say where he is. Got to keep it quiet." And I'm like, "All right."
Right.
And I remember I talked to somebody, and it's like, "Oh, you got to talk to so and so," and then so, and it just fell apart. And I was like, "The hell with this." And as the months went by, I could not stop thinking about it. So every time I'd see my buddy, I say, "Hey, you just let them know we need to make them some money. Let's get in there and do some events." He's
Right.
like, "I'll let him know. I'll let him know."
Yeah.
And back in November, it just so happened I saw him that night, and he was going to a meeting. I said, "You know what you need to do, right?" And he's like, "I know, I know." That was the night they mentioned, we really need to raise some funds. We're not
Right.
sure. And he raised his hand. He said, "Well, I know a guy." And they
Right.
said, "Sure, he can come to the next meeting, whatever." And so I did. I went to the next meeting. I stood up in front of the group, and I presented what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
80% of the people were fully on board because they all had experiences in there. And then the two holdouts were the ones in charge. So I had to really win them over.
Right.
Um, but now all is good. All is good, and they're ready for it, and they're
That's really
excited for the
cool.
opportunity.
That's very cool. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, it's almost like even at Hannah House, it's almost like even like when paranormal teams would come in and stuff like that, and I think it's even really cool. Like you don't even sometimes they're not even paranormal teams. It's like it'd be a group, like let's say a group of gals or whatever that are having like a bridal party or something,
Yeah.
like something at me. And and some of them don't even really believe in ghosts or whatever, but they just have that stigma. They're at a historical place that's allegedly haunted, and it's just really cool. Even like you can still be skeptic and you can still be a believer, but people can still come in and they still have a good time. They
Absolutely.
still like no matter what they stay. Like they'll do like an overnight or whatever. They'll leave going, this was so cool. Like this was really really awesome. I loved it. Like I mean, you love to hear stuff like that. You love to get
Yeah, it's a
people,
good feeling.
and even getting people involved. And then
Hmm.
you'll hear people, oh my god, I can come back. It's like this was so awesome. I'll have to bring my family. And yeah, Yeah, set it up anytime. Go ahead. And it's
That's
just
how word travels. That's how you get people in.
exactly, and it's just really cool that we can get people to do that and stuff like that. So, oh, excuse me. So, like, okay, so the location we're talking about, like, so when are you going to be able to to start doing like overnights and let people book for?
So we can't do overnights because we can't have people stay in the building overnight. But we got it's ready for booking now. We're doing 6-hour blocks.
Okay.
But the beautiful thing about its location is 7 minutes from 3 major hotels, 10 minutes from the highway, 30 minutes from Boston, about 40 minutes from Lizzie Borden on the south, and about an hour south of Salem. So it's destination area. If people are coming from out of state, they can make a whole weekend out of coming out this way and have plenty of options.
That's actually pretty cool because I mean, you've got like, say, like where you travel, you can hit like different locations and stuff like that, or go sightseeing. So
that was a big thing with me with this, was that I wanted it to be an accessible location, because as well as I do, a lot of these places are out in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, anything like that. You can walk to a convenience store or 5 pizza shops from this location. It's fantastic. And
awesome.
We are like a halfway point. If you go south, you've got the Oliver House. If you go a little north, you've got the Emory Estates in Weymouth. All of these things, if you're looking to like pack together a paranormal weekend, you've got like half a dozen options now just in this area. And that's what we wanted. What we wanted to create. So people have a reason to come out here.
Right. That's pretty cool. It's like, even like me and a friend of mine was talking, and I actually had him on the podcast not too long ago. And me and him was talking about certain locations, and it's like, to me, it's not a bad thing, because it's like what me and you were just talking about a little bit ago, where sometimes when people talk about ghost or paranormal stuff, and still to this very day, it's a very taboo subject,
It is. Outside of the community, it is.
But now, sometimes it can be a good thing. Like me and my friend was talking, it's like, people don't realize, like, say if you got people traveling 3 states away, 4 states away, and come visit, on how much it can help. I mean, yeah, it can be a small fraction, but I mean, it does help with like the town's economy, and stuff like that, getting, like, becoming like kind of a tourist attraction, let's just say, but in a different,
in
a different area.
It's the trickle down effect. It helps everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you're still like, you'll stop by a pizza place, you'll stop by a barbecue joint, or, it's still, I mean, a lot of people don't realize it can be a good thing. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Because I love traveling.
It stimulates the economy. I like traveling too, a lot. I do like that. And this year I'm not gonna be able to travel as much because I'm gonna be pouring everything into this, but that's all right.
Right. Oh, and I am so sorry. Here's my old age kicking in again. I heard you had a newborn daughter.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You're very
she decided to come out early.
I heard about that.
But
me and Sarah was talking.
Yeah, she's a little fighter though. She's doing fantastic.
That's awesome.
She likes to give her mom scares every day, but she's doing good.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear. I just want, man, that totally slipped my mind, man. I'm just so glad I was able to tell you congratulations on it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I did not.
Very happy.
Again, it would have been, I got through his podcast and we hung up, and all of a sudden, well, there's the asshole in me. Right. But yeah, Sarah even wanted me to tell you congratulations, and she said she's a cutie.
Well, thank you both. Much appreciated.
Oh, very welcome, man. Very welcome. So, okay, back to when we talk about travel and stuff like that. Not if you're able to make it this year, because I'm trying to promote this damn thing as much as I can. But at Hannah House, every August we have what we call a paranormal celebration day, where everybody comes, and like paranormal teams, psychics. Sarah sets up an art, like she makes like art, paintings, and crafts and stuff like that. She sets up a booth. Everybody gets to set up a booth. I do tours all day, so that's my gig. stuff like that. So if you are able to make it, you and your daughter, man, feel free to come out, man.
What's the date?
Crap. August. Yeah, I want to say 19th. I could be totally dead wrong on that. But I've got a flyer that I can send you.
Yeah, let me know. I know I'm going to be in Detroit like August, I think like 24th or something like that. It's like a Tuesday or a Wednesday for some reason. We're doing Eloise. And
Okay.
I'm trying to think when we're going out there. If I can make it, I'd love to come out. I've not done anything in Indiana yet. Oh, no, that's wrong. I've done them in Row House. I've done them in Row House.
I've never even been there. I'm horrible. But yeah, dude.
It's a hype house.
13th. Sarah said 13th.
13th? Let me see if I can fit it in. I'd love to come out.
Okay. Yeah, definitely bring her daughter, man, because Ella would be with us.
Yeah, I definitely would bring her. We make a nice little road trip out of it if we can.
Well, yeah. I was going to say because Ella would be with us, and Ella would love to meet her, and stuff like that. That'd be very cool, man.
Yeah, might be able to make it happen.
That'd be cool. I already told her because I had Eric and Stephanie on, and told them about it. And I guess he's got something else going on, and he said he can't make it. I'm like, well, shit, man, because I'm trying to. That's one thing I love about the paranormal community. I got away from the investigations part of it. And that's kind of why I started this podcast, is to where, and I think we got a good community, and it's kind of what I love to do with this podcast is reach across the table and talk to as many people as I can. Even though I don't get to talk to a lot of people because I got a weird shift. But I mean, it's like, just reach across the table and, just have good conversations, man, and get to meet people and finally get my butt out there.
Networking's everything in here. And that's what I love doing myself.
I enjoy it.
It's awesome.
I mean, I really do. So yeah, man, I mean, definitely. I mean, if you're able to come out, man, I mean, that'd be really cool because I'd love to meet you. And I know Sarah would, and most definitely. That'd be very cool.
I'd love to get out there. New location, check out. That'd be fun.
There's quite a few actually in Indiana. I mean, like I said, you got Hannah House, and you got Rhodes Hotel, and there's been a few places I think has been shut down and stuff like that. Because I mean, a lot of places get old, and then the state kind of comes in and shuts them down. But so that's why I'm kind of grateful that I've been able to see locations that now aren't really available to a lot of people today, stuff like that. Okay, yeah, man. Do me a favor, send me the links of like your preservation stuff like that, and the location you got going. And man, I'll definitely do my best to get it on. Get it in the description box so people can check it out. They can click the links, and I'll try to definitely get the word out for you, man. Most definitely.
I appreciate that.
Okay, all right, man. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and it's like time's almost up a little bit, and but it was great talking with you, man.
You as well. Pleasure.
But yeah, man, if you ever want to come back on, man, let's do it again, man.
Absolutely. I'm sure I'll have some more stuff going on within the summertime, so we'll have to chat some more.
Hey, if you got more going on, dude, and you want to come back on, hit me up.
Oh, absolutely will.
That's what this is all about, dude. Most definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm always going to have something going on. I don't stop. I'm always hustling.
All right, let's do it again, brother.
Sounds good to me, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Well, you have a good night, man.
You too. We'll chat soon.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right. You too, man. Bye-bye.
All right, man.